Oh man, Elden Ring and Nightreign. I can't believe they actually made a spin-off of one of the greatest games of all time. I cannot wait to play this. Me and my friends, we're gonna have so much fun. Yes, we almost got it. Come on. Oh man, we all died. No. Okay. Start a new match. We died again. Man. You see this, Stitch? You see what we have to deal with? All because of my stupid team. Oh man, we got this. We got this in the bag. Look how close we are. We totally got this. Okay, so okay, don't worry. We're almost there. We're almost there. And people thought Shadow of the Erdtree was hard. This is a load of bull. Nightreign, more like night pain. Pain in my... Don't they... Yeah, you know what? You're right. I should take a break from this. Now, you know what? I can't let this slide. Nope. Alright. Nightreign. Shut up, oven. I'm not ready to eat yet. It's just you and me. I don't care if I have to get that food out of the oven. I'll just let it burn. Let it burn! Woo! Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about. Woo! Now I can finally review this pile of junk. Okay, you know what? It's actually not that bad. Hey guys, what is up? This is Matthew Davis, me once again. Welcome back to another video game review. This time it is going to be on Elden Ring Nightreign. This is FromSoft's first attempt at a spin-off to one of their most popular games ever, Elden Ring, which is a game I absolutely adore. I cannot stop talking about this game. I love the base game. I love the DLC. I am just crazy about this game, and it's one of the greatest games I've ever played in my entire life. So of course, I was going to anticipate this game. This is far more different, as that $40 price tag indicates that it's not nearly going to have as much content, and it really doesn't. It's far more different than normal Elden Ring, as you and a few other players have to roam around the world of Elden Ring in a roguelike setting where you have to get as much power for you and your teammates along your journey in various different worlds of Elden Ring, where it's a 3-day cycle, and if you manage to survive the first 2 days, the third day you fight a brand new boss, where as most of your journey, you're going to be fighting bosses from the base game of Elden Ring, as well as some surprise bosses from games that they have made in the past, like Dark Souls. For example, the Gaping Dragon. You know, that thing that kind of looks like... Okay, you ever see the movie Teeth? And you know what that movie is about, right? That's the best thing I can describe the Gaping Dragon. But that's besides the point. So yeah, because this was a spin-off game, when the game was announced, many people did not know what to make of it. Is it going to be like a Fortnite type of game? Well, it's not a battle royale game, like I mentioned before. It's a roguelike game, and if you're familiar with roguelikes like Returnal or Hades, which is my personal favorite roguelike, as well as many others, if you're familiar with the formula, then you should know exactly what to expect. It's not an RPG. I mean, you do level up and you can get yourself stronger. It's just not in the same way as FromSoft's other games, because again, far more different. And I appreciate what they were going for in trying to make a spin-off. And because they're new to this type of formula, the fact they're going for a roguelike setting, I knew that they weren't going to perfect it. but it would be a massive surprise if they did, because they can almost do absolutely no wrong. No matter what they do, I always love what they make when it comes to their base games, to their DLCs. I was really looking forward to what they had to offer here. And I'm going to tell you right off the bat, I almost didn't review this game because I almost wanted to end the game early, because if you thought Shadow of the Erdtree was FromSoft at their hardest, oh man. You want to know how difficult this game was for me? I had 2 other players with me. It took me 10 hours to get past the first boss. And it took me so many other hours of not making progress just to get past other bosses. Now, throughout the game, there are like 7 main bosses total that you have to fight. Well, 8, counting the final boss. And all of them you have to fight within a certain amount of time, as each run lasts around like 45 minutes. It really depends. But each day lasts about 14 minutes, and every time, time passes by, the map slowly shrinks down, and you have to fight as many bosses as you possibly can. Try to fight as many enemies as you can. Just try to boost yourself up before fighting the final boss. I don't know if it's easier if you're playing solo. I always had other players with me, despite the fact that it was kind of difficult for me sometimes when it came to, meeting with other players online. And just due to the fact that most of the players I had sucked. Or it's either they sucked or I sucked. It just really depends. But really though, I feel like this game is probably going to ruin a lot of friendships for people, because sometimes when it comes to other players playing the game, because there's no voice chat, at least that I'm not aware of, it can be easy for another player to get distracted. Let me give you some advice. Never split up your party, because if you do, that's not going to end well. Now, when players die, you can revive them, but if they die too many times, it's going to take longer for you to revive them, and eventually every single one of your teammates is going to die. The game is only fully over if you beat a main boss during each day. So when it comes to when you're middle of playing throughout the day, you lose a level, which is always going to be an annoyance, because the max level that you can go is level 15, which doesn't really sound much, but you can definitely tell that there is a difference. So I really like how when it comes to building up your character, you can't overpower them, to give it more of that same difficulty that we're all known to enjoy, even though sometimes we hate it. But it just really depends what you're trying to go for. Now, when it comes to character building, there are different characters you can play as, and you can unlock other characters within the game. So it's something that I really appreciate. Just find out which character suits you the best. And every time you die, or every time you either win a match or lose a match, you gain these power-ups that you can use for your character. For each character, each one has their own different build that you can do. And try building your character as best as you possibly can, because each time you beat a boss, you get specific abilities that can help you, with other bosses. So there are bosses that are going to be overly powerful, and there are going to be bosses that are extremely weak. So yeah, it still has that lack of hand-holding. The only time you're going to get past this game is if you have another player that fully knows what's going on throughout the game. So yeah, my best bet is to just, find players you trust, or get a really good password that has a world of people that are fully experienced, because chances are you're probably going to have a bad time if you're playing solo. But again, even if you are playing with other players, it doesn't make the game easier, because I played with so many players and we have failed so many times and we got so frustrated. Some people will even leave the world if they feel like they just suck so badly. And be careful, because sometimes they might tell you off if you decide to leave. So yeah, that happened to me a few times, but did I care? Absolutely not. But yeah, I did get frustrated a lot when it came to other players leaving, because it's, again, this is a game that I feel like is definitely going to ruin a lot of friendships. So yeah, even though I absolutely hated a lot of the experience, at the same time, I absolutely loved it because it's FromSoft. That being said, I don't think the game is incredible. And it hurts me to say that because FromSoft, like I mentioned before, no matter what they do, I always love their games. Even Dark Souls 2, while critics love the game, players, that's a whole nother story, but I absolutely love that game. I love every single FromSoft game. While I wouldn't consider this in the same category as those because this is a spin-off, I wouldn't say it's fully worth it. I definitely think that $40 was much more well spent when playing the DLC, despite the fact that the DLC, oh man, it was so crazy, but I got past it. I reviewed that on my channel. Despite the fact that there were many times where I just wanted to give up because, again, this isn't the type of game where you can grind out your character whatsoever. At least not in the sense of maxing out your character because you don't keep your builds. Because, again, it's a roguelike. You should know how roguelikes work. When you die, you go all the way back to the beginning. At least when it comes to certain aspects of the game in terms of the worlds that you explore. But if that's not really your thing, you're probably not going to have a good time with this. But I feel like this game was made just so, other players could play it with you. Because playing solo, it kind of defeats the purpose. But again, it's optional. You don't have to play online with other players. But I feel like that's really how you're going to get the full experience of this game. Now, of course, you can't talk about a FromSoft game without talking about the bosses. The new ones are cool. They're annoying, but they're cool. Some of their designs I feel like aren't incredible. Like, there are some really annoying bosses, specifically the creature bosses. I kind of wish there was more bosses, main bosses in terms of like warriors rather than creatures, because there are many creature bosses that I felt like kind of felt a little bit lazy, as while they do have different attacks, they just, I don't know, I always preferred more of those warrior strong type bosses with swords and stuff rather than just creature battles. I feel like by far the coolest creature battle was Sif from Dark Souls 1, which would have been cool if they added some of the more memorable bosses from previous entries rather than just, ones that aren't as well known or aren't as loved. If they were going to go for more of that sense of adding in bosses from Dark Souls. So, yeah, and when it comes to the map too, you're just exploring the world of Elden Ring, and oftentimes it gets kind of repetitive in terms of the map because it doesn't really feel like it changes a whole lot. And in terms of the bosses that you fight, they're the same ones that you're going to fight over and over without having it feel like there are many changes. Now, when it comes to the final boss, funny thing, I mentioned before that the first boss took me 10 hours. You want to know how many attempts it took me to beat the final boss, the final boss? You want to know how long it took me? It took me one try. And sure, other players were with me as well, but yeah, it just kind of felt a little bit underwhelming. And the fact that, once you beat the game, there really isn't a whole lot left to do. Now, granted, you don't have to beat all the main bosses to get to the final boss. You can just play like 4 worlds, because once you beat the first boss, it will unlock all the areas. It'll unlock the final boss once you get to the 4th area, or when you beat 4 bosses total. So that's something I appreciate. It kind of encourages you to want to go back to previous bosses that you haven't fought before. So yeah, that's something that I appreciated. But yeah, in terms of online play, the connection, yeah, it did crash for me a lot. The game itself didn't crash. It's just in terms of the servers. It didn't always happen for me. I mean, the game, it definitely doesn't run perfectly, but you can definitely tell if you are playing online. Specifically when it comes to the boss's health, sometimes it will go down, but then sometimes it will go up because there's something up, and I was worried that the game might crash, and that did happen to me many times. But yeah, there really isn't a whole lot for me to say. I guess in terms of, what the game is trying to do, it's something I appreciate, the fact that it is going for a roguelike, because it's something new from FromSoft. I can't really say that they didn't try, because I get what they were going for. I just wish it kind of felt a little more fresh and unique rather than just, feeling like the same area just with different bosses. To me, that just doesn't really add a whole lot of creativity. And again, when it comes to character building, when it comes to each one, it is going to play out differently. But even when it comes to character building, it doesn't feel as satisfying or as rewarding. Even when it comes to beating bosses, you don't really get a whole lot. Like, I could think of other ways of making the experience more rewarding, like maybe have some more cool weapons for your character to equip. That way they'll have them with you instead of just your wimpy starter weapon. That's something that I thought was kind of a missed opportunity to, encourage players more, giving them more of those, rewarding rewards. Rewarding rewards. I don't know why I had to say it like that, but yeah, I get what they were trying to do with the perks that you get. The fact that you have to, kind of experiment for which will work best. And there are so many of them that you get that I feel like by the end of it, you're just going to have an infinite amount. But I don't really see myself using them as much because some feel useless, while some are definitely worth using. I mostly got the ones that allowed you to get more runes. Like, I care more about strength and, building up your character in the best way that you possibly can. But then again, I feel like that's something that all of us are wanting a lot more when it comes to this game. So yeah, in the end, the game definitely has problems, but I don't think it's a bad game. I get what they were going for, and I'm just thankful that the game isn't full price. Well, again, $40 definitely is a bit much. Honestly, I feel like this should have just been its own mode in the base game. Have it maybe cost like I don't know, 20 or $10 or $15 in the base game of Elden Ring. I think it would have been a little bit more reasonable rather than it just being its own game. The challenge is definitely still there. It just depends on if you want to make it easier for yourself or harder for yourself, but it's mostly going to be hard either way. Whether if you're playing solo, though I heard solo mode has gotten nerfed a little bit, making it a little bit easier for solo players. I feel like because the best way to play the game is with friends, I feel like it just kind of defeats the purpose. I do feel like when it comes to the gameplay itself, it does get really repetitive when it comes to the bosses. The fact that most of them are just bosses that you fought in Elden Ring, with the addition of new bosses in this game. Still, nonetheless, despite the fact there are times where I absolutely hated the game, thought it was the worst thing I've ever played in my life, I don't really mean that. None of these games, I mean it. Elden Ring, Bloodborne, they're two of the best games I've ever played in my entire life. But with this one, I do feel like it's the weakest in terms of FromSoft's Souls-like formula. Again, not a bad experience, but I wouldn't really praise the Sun a whole lot. I would praise some of it, just not all of it. Again, not a bad attempt for a spin-off or roguelike. It's just, I feel like it needed a lot more to it. But, nonetheless, I'd still say play it. Maybe wait for a price drop, maybe around like 20 or $30, or I don't know. But hey, $40, it's still, at least it's not $80. At least it's not going for whatever Mario Kart World has been doing. I heard that game's good, but yeah, but let me know what you guys think. I'm just happy I was able to beat the main story, but yeah. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and maybe subscribe for more. You can also follow me on Twitter or Instagram or maybe Blue Sky. Links are in the description, and I'll see you guys later. Word out.